Hey everybody, Billy Watkins here with the Premier Power Hour podcast. On the road again today, coming to you from the Indy Distribution Center, Building 2. I've got an exciting guest with us today by the name of Rebecca Okken. Rebecca?
Hello.
Welcome. Nice to have you here. We're kind of going to talk to you a little bit about your career here at Premier and what you do, and be interested to hear some good stories.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about how you got your start here with Premier.
Well, I was driving a semi, and through some issues that came up, I was looking for a new new job.
Yeah.
And so at a different place. So I couldn't find one. Tell you the truth, everybody told me I was too old, too short, and female.
Hey, but you'd been driving a truck for a long time. How tall are you, by the way?
But you don't get to apply for a job anymore. It's all online. So they saw I'm 5'10", I'm 65 years old, and I'm a female. And I couldn't get a bite, so I went to a temp agency.
You're 4'10", not 5'10".
4'10". Yeah, I'm 4'10".
I would agree. Yeah.
So I couldn't get a bite, so I went to work at a temp agency.
How are we going to do that?
It's okay. It's a podcast.
I wish I was 5'10".
People will think it's funny. Let's go. I'm 4'10". So I went to a temp agency, and I got this job through the temp agency.
Okay, and so it started out with a temp agency, and then got hired on here full time, which is awesome.
Eventually, yeah.
You were driving a truck when this distribution center opened, right? Basically.
Yes. I was the only semi driver.
Awesome. And you'd been doing that for a long time. You love being
it.
What do you love so much about being a truck driver?
I had always wanted to be one since I was 5 years old, and I was told that I would never be able to do it because back in the 50s, they were not power steering, not power brakes, not anything like that. And then when it came time for me to completely change careers, which we will talk about, because my career was in the corrugated industry before I became a truck driver.
So yeah, I mean, we're all going everywhere.
When I walked in here and saw the plates that go on the machines that print the corrugated, I was in that industry when it was in its babyhood.
Right.
Before I became a truck driver at 40.
So you didn't start to be a truck driver until you were 40.
40 years old.
Wow.
Yep. And I will be 70 in December.
That's awesome.
And I would drive until I was 90 if they let me.
there's a I don't know if DOT has anything to do with that
Nope.
or not, but okay, good. Currently you have a different position. What is
Yes.
it that you do here at Premier?
Last June, I had a TIA, which is a teeny weeny small stroke. It took them a day and a half to figure out where it was because I have nothing clogged.
That's good.
They finally did the dye test, and they found it. But if you have that, then you can't drive for a year.
Okay.
Big stroke, 5 years. Little stroke, 1 year. So my arm was numb for about 2 hours, and then I was fine. So since I love driving my truck so much, I was totally distraught.
Right.
And they were already looking to open this position, create this position, see whether or not it's a position would even work. So I immediately slid me into this when I got released from the hospital.
Okay, and this current position that you're in now is dispatcher, correct?
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about what the day-to-day for a dispatcher is.
I get all the drivers out in the morning. I walk down the dock and make sure that all the loads have straps or they're actually what they're supposed to be. I look at the pass-down sheet to make sure I read all the notes on that. And then I get attacked by all the drivers as they have issues, and I have to sort all that out. And then I finally get them all out the door. And then I start looking at what's going to be load number 2 to make sure they're all right and or loaded and all there. And then around 1 o'clock, I get print, which is the new orders.
For the next day.
I sort for the next day, and then I sort all those orders out. I have to do a pallet count on every order, and then I have to build the load. so that everything going one direction goes, another direction goes,
Yep.
and decide what driver is going to take it, who's most suited for it.
Building
Try to
some
keep
sort of
everything-
efficiencies
Yep.
in where you can.
I make it as efficient as I can.
So when you started, or when we started, you were the only truck driver. How many truck drivers are you dispatching for on a
7.
day? 7 now. Okay,
And that's not counting me.
Right, that's a
as
lot.
a driver. Yep.
that is a lot.
I've got
And
7 going out every morning.
and how many different loads or runs will they make on a day?
During peak, my drivers might do 3 or 4 loads a day, which might have anywhere from 1 to 3 stops on each one.
Yeah.
Then right now, we're busy now as we were in our old peak as we've grown. So I'm getting out 2 loads to each driver a day right now in non-peak season. Probably, I don't see, Daryl did 6 stops today.
Mm-hmm.
Another driver did 5. So 3 to 5 stops on a trailer. This part, not off peak, the orders are a little smaller.
Right.
So 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 might fit on a trailer rather than during peak when I get 2 or 3 on a trailer. And we have to take more trailers.
And so then, and how many peaks have you gone through?
I've actually worked here 5.5 years, and been an employee. I just passed my 4th anniversary in March. So I've been through 5 or 6 peaks.
They're crazy, right? I mean,
Oh,
it's
absolutely
just
insane.
how do you? I mean, I think as a company, we do an amazing job gearing up for it and being ready for it. How do you prepare yourself just mentally?
I do this. First of all, everything has to be run safely first. I don't care if somebody's building's on fire or their assembly line's going to go down. My truck driver is not going to speed. Do not bring me a speeding ticket. Do not bring me a rear-ending collision because
Right.
you
Safety
don't want
first.
a piece of me. So, safety first, go the speed limit. I build the loads accordingly. I've been every place we go, so I know how long it takes. I haven't had a speeding ticket since 1981.
Ooh, nice.
So, I know how long it takes. And then I've also worked through construction. So when we have construction season like we do now, it's going to take a little longer. And they text me pictures, sitting in traffic, dead still, click. Or they'll text me or call me sometimes and say, I've been sitting here in traffic with a collision for an hour and a half. And then we can appropriately let the customer know what's going on.
Very nice.
So we do all that all day long.
Okay. And having been through 4.5, 5 of them, you're ready. You know what to expect.
Well, the first one I did all by myself.
Nice. Yeah.
I was working 12, 13, 14-hour days.
Getting it done.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
As they said, you start at 7 and you work until you get done. And I said I work until DOT says I can't work anymore at 9 p.m.
Right. Yeah, that's governed by
Right.
a different
Yep.
rule there.
And that's the other thing is I've been in it so long, I know how to read the DOT book. And if my drivers are asked to do anything that's untoward, I put a stop to it before it ever gets to the driver. I will say no.
So how did you? You've been doing this for a while. What other skills have you learned? And probably your experience as a truck driver is extremely valuable. But for doing what you're doing now, to make things efficient, to build these trucks out, what have you learned to make that happen?
I hauled fruit and vegetables all the way to most of my career. I did dump trucking in the summer and worked in the winter. Basically didn't drive a semi until about 6 years ago.
Okay.
6 or 7 years ago. Didn't drive a semi in the summer. I drove a dump truck. I dispatched for a dump truck company for a while. And hauling fruits and vegetables, you learn how to build your load yourself because you have to stand on the dock and tell them how you want it loaded in order to weigh out correctly. It's 1234.34, that's maximum.
Okay.
And when you're hauling fruits and vegetables, they load you up to 80,000 pounds if they can, right up to the wire. And so you got to go in and make sure your tanks are full or you can't even fill up with fuel
Okay.
when you get there. So just watching loads being built as a driver, and then learning, because I had a co-driver that had been doing it, you just kind of learn how you could do it. How many pallets go on a trailer, I already knew that.
Right.
Turning sideways, I already knew all about that. All the things. Single stack, double stack, triple stack, I already knew it all.
Have you? Is there anything in particular that you've learned, new knowledge you've gained working at Premier and with corrugated?
Well, before I became a truck driver, I left my career because of people. I didn't like them.
Generally?
Generally didn't like people. I'm a hermit.
I find that hard to believe, but
But
okay.
coming back inside and learning to work with people again, because you turn into a hermit driving a truck. You're in a truck. Just stop and think. For
Yeah.
30 years, I've been in a truck all day long by myself.
It's you and the road.
You, the road, and all the other crazy
Well,
drivers
and
around you. So you have to be on your toes. It's a whole completely different world than having to interact with people. The only time I had to interact with people was when I was at a stop. I was like, I'm here to make a delivery, da-da-da, walk away. They weren't my boss. They weren't my supervisor. They
Right.
weren't my coworker.
Right.
I was just there to make a nice
Making a delivery. Yeah.
delivery, and done. Go away.
Well, yeah.
So coming back inside was very traumatic for me. But I like my peoples.
For sure.
I found out that I really did like the people that work here.
Yeah,
And
it blows me
Premier
away.
doesn't put up with people that you don't get along with for very long. If they don't come in and have a good attitude and get along and work well, don't last long.
But part of the Premier culture, it is hard work, but at the end of the day, it is family.
We
yeah.
all take care of each other.
Yeah, for
we
sure.
buy each other lunch. We make sure each other's okay. I'm a mommy. So I stick bandages on people if they get hurt. You know, we all get along.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So far, being with Premier, what's the proudest moment been for you?
Well, being a truck driver, the proudest moment is when you know in the morning your boss says, look, I've got 15 deliveries today and you're it. And you get it done.
Yeah.
And you get that from him at the end of the day.
Good feeling.
Yeah.
Getting it done.
So it's not any one thing in particular. It's kind of like this in my life because my children are all grown, gone. It's God, Ivory, Premier Packaging, home. Pretty much.
Pretty simple. Premier beats home, though, right? That's
Ivory beats the company.
understood. Yes. I love it.
I'd say God, Ivory, Premier Packaging, and home.
I need to
'Cause I love my job.
love it as well.
Yeah.
I find it so hard to believe that there was ever a point in your life where you weren't personable. I bet you would have been the nicest, best truck driver to have on your dock. That's just my opinion from meeting you.
Might say I've always been the cleanest. Because I made up my mind when I became a truck driver. Look, I made up my mind. I wear earrings, I wear makeup, I have my nails done, I wear my jewelry, I have my nice clothes, and I'm not going to get dirty. I'm just going to be the nicest, cleanest, sweetest truck driver and most patient and kind out there. I am going to do it.
I like
And
it.
I refused to be a dirty, stinky
Truck driver.
truck driver. I wasn't going to happen.
Yes.
And it still hasn't happened. I still look just like this in a truck. And I have kitten heels on.
So how old were you when you started working?
14.
14. I
Yes.
don't even know if that's legal anymore, but what were you doing at 14?
When I was 14, I started school early, so I was in the high school. I wanted to be an architect. So I filled out my high school education thing and I applied to be in mechanical drafting.
Okay.
They said, no, you're a girl. So we went to court and the judge said she has to go to the class. And the principal said she can go in the class if she carries a B+ average. So I was the first girl, picture to prove it in my yearbook, that ever took mechanical drafting in high school.
Very nice.
So and I had already been a long time. My mother was quite an entrepreneur, and she designed houses. So I already knew all the architectural aspects of drafting. I knew what a triangle was and what degrees were and T-square and all the stuff. But you did it by hand back then. You didn't know
No CAD, yeah. Right.
No CAD.
Yeah.
No CADs back then. So I took the class, and second semester, our government decided to build I-65 that went through the middle of town. They needed somebody to make, by hand, a blueprint of every piece of property that they bought. Plot plan and a house plan, to scale, to be submitted to the guy that decided how much it was worth.
Okay.
I got picked because my teacher offered me up the job. Out of all the people in his class, the only girl got that job.
Very nice.
So at 14, I made all the plot plans and house plans for I-65 to cut through the middle of Indianapolis.
Trailblazer. Very nice. And that went off successfully.
Yes, I did all of them. I got $4 a piece too, by the way.
Pretty good, probably, right? Not too shabby.
It was about $1 an hour.
All right. Good experience then.
Yes, but I was 14. $1 an hour in 19,
Pretty okay.
60s was worth a lot more than it is now.
So how did you? And then to bring this full circle, if there's any way we can, you were in the corrugated business as well.
So I took mechanical drafting, and I took architectural drafting, and then I wanted to take shop, and they said absolutely no, we're not having a girl in the shop. So I switched over to typing, and they found out I could type 120 words a minute by the time I got out of the typing class. So I went into typesetting and advertising.
Yeah.
And I was a graphic artist because I also liked to draw. So I did that for about 18 years. But in the last part of my career, big box stores came into existence, and big box stores wanted to have advertising on their big boxes.
Yeah.
So voila, printing was born on corrugated.
Yeah.
I was there.
Love it.
I was there.
At the dawn
Yes,
of
I
an
flew
era.
all over the United States to all the paper companies that were installing printing and needed dyes, and we designed their dyes and their decorations on the sides of the boxes.
That is
Before
awesome.
that was the Buckner Group.
I don't.
And I worked with precision rubber plate, and
Yeah.
we made dyes for all that stuff.
That is incredible. I hope you're not going anywhere anytime soon, but if you do decide to, you'd have one heck of a resume, you know? Pretty impressive.
I could walk into the CAD room and
Make something happen.
make something happen.
Well,
So when I walked in here, when I walked in, and my boss was showing me around the other plant, because this didn't exist.
Right.
Showing me the other plant, and I'm walking by the machines, I'm like, oh, deja vu.
Right.
I've been here, done this, and now I'm hauling it.
It's a good feeling. You have.
Well, it's like I said, I used to design what went on the machine, and now I'm hauling what comes off the machine.
Now you're delivering it.
Yep.
Well, hopefully, I do appreciate the time you've given us, Rebecca. Everything that has to go out tomorrow is probably going to run a little late now.
Nope. I stay until it's done. I still do that.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate your time. Hopefully they got all of this because we're in a warehouse. This is like live TV. It's very loud, and hopefully most of the beeps and buzzes were over the things I was saying, and not you.
I have to talk over them all the time.
Yeah.
See, I've got this cool little headset that does not go in my ear,
Very nice.
so that I can talk to my drivers and I can still hear
You hear everything.
everything's going around the office.
Tricks of the trade. Well, thank you guys for joining us on this Premier Power Hour podcast. This is Billy Watkins with Rebecca Okken.
Been fun.
Until next time, thank you.
Do you have comments, questions, or ideas about this topic? If so, we'd like to hear from you. Please visit crimpac.com/podcast to let us know what you think. Thanks.